رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. As I was here 2 weeks ago, and I kind of briefed you before that me and Dr. Arshad, among with other people, were hired, or we were asked by a lot of people in Masjid Umar to, about 18 months ago, to become a mediator team and basically mediate between Masjid Umar people and between the board. So we were selected as about 8 people, and we went ahead, and over 18 months we met with the board, basically talking about 2 main issues. The first main issue was the financials. There is a lot of brothers and sisters concerned that some of the zakat money that was paid for zakat in Masjid Umar was utilized not in a zakat way, which means that it's being used in different buckets. And again, I wanted to emphasize, nobody here questioning the integrity of the people and the management of Alfarooq. We're just the money being used in a different area where it's supposed to be. We all know that the zakat has a special way of being distributed, and this is not being followed, or that's what we were trying to investigate that. And the second issue is basically the directorship of Masjid Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. That a lot of people, after Brother Aziz Danani was being asked to resign, they were not happy with the directorship that took place after him. So after 18 months of negotiating back and forth with the board, we have basically came to a conclusion. As I said last time, we came back with nothing, 0. As far as the financials, as a matter of fact, we got a letter that is a disappointing letter, because a letter came from a member of the board, and he actually serves as an attorney, saying that we have no right to look at the financials. And he quoted an IRS only, he quoted that the only organization can look at the financial is an IRS organizations. That's it. And he quoted a law by Georgia on that. And after consulting with an attorney, we have a different opinions. It is true that churches and synagogue and mosques they don't have to have their financials public, so nobody from the street can come and ask them for it. But any membership, anybody contributing to this organization have the right to look at all the financials. So that's one letter. And actually, we have been promised that we will publish the financials. And the last meeting took place in Masjid Umar. We promised, somebody from the board promised us that within 6 weeks we would have the financials to us so we can look at it. And we have not received anything. So that's one thing. The second issue was, which is the big issue for a lot of people in Masjid Umar, is the change of leadership or directorship in Masjid Umar. People were not happy. Brother who took over, Brother Aziz, is a great brother, but he's not a good manager to manage such an institutions. And that we got promised that these things will have some sort of changes in June, the past June. And again, nothing happened. Actually, I got a call from one of the board members that basically, we are not changing, and people love the work that the new directorship is doing. And that was the end of it. So that negotiation continues, and I basically, in that meeting in Masjid Umar, I have told the board, and at that time, Brother Aziz Danani and Brother Anis were part of the board. And they were in the meeting, and I told them there is a lot of people who are very angry and unhappy about a lot of things in Masjid Umar and in Masjid Alfarooq. And there's a lot of people, actually, they wanted to go a lot further than the mediations. So you got to take this very seriously. And again, nothing happened. So I guess what happened next that triggers what's going on right now, and the 2 weeks that have passed with the General Assembly, is basically they moved Imam Abdullah from Masjid Umar to Masjid Alfarooq. And that just did not resonate well with a lot of Muslims. And that's why we had the General Assembly meeting 2 weeks ago. So after the General Assembly meeting, we have requested to meet with the board. And from now on, I have to be honest with you, I would not call them a board, because legally, they are not a board. And I will be explaining that to you. So we have requested to meet with them for several times. And unfortunately, we got delayed many times, and we just met with them last Tuesday. So the meeting took place for all the board members except Brother Aziz and Brother Anis were actually fired 2 months ago. So I want to make sure that this is clear. They were not part of that meeting. So once we met with them, but before we met with them, we went and hired attorney. As a matter of fact, we've hired 2 attorneys. And the attorney is here to look at the bylaws and the constitutions. And we found, brothers and sisters, that the board they call themselves a board, they have no status. There is no board in not only Masjid Umar, because remember, it's Atlanta Mosque is owned, Masjid Alfarooq, Masjid Umar, Dar al-Ulum, Dar al-Nur, the cemetery, and a lot of other real estate. So technically, by, again, a memorandum by 2 attorneys looked at it, they both came to the same conclusion. Currently, there is no board. So we have explained this very clearly to the board, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of the board members kind of agreed with us at that meetings. Or I shouldn't say agreed, but they kind of realized that there's an issue. And we have really digged it very well, and we know what we are talking about.
What?
And we came up with a solution to them and said, look, you are our elders. We want you to continue to be part of this. And we wanted to really, kind of save the legacy and the dignity of you, because you've done a lot of hard work for the past 40 years. So we have advised that we are willing to come back to the General Assembly and basically request to have 2 boards. One board called the Advisor Board. And the Advisor Board is a board that will basically not having the governing board, which means they cannot do the day-to-day issue. They will just basically manage the real estate. So none of the governing boards can sell the real estate, without their concession. And we asked them, maybe some of you could basically move into the advisor boards, and some of you could stay on the governing boards for a short period of time for a transitions, because we definitely need your wisdom and the history. And that meeting took about 3 hours, and we felt, and again, the mediation group, and Imam Abdullah was with us, we felt that the message was clear to them. We showed them all the papers, we showed them the memorandum from the attorneys, so it was very clear. And we have, at the end of the meeting, we made the dua, and we felt that everything is, going to be hopefully, in a much more, easy way of getting out of this problem. So we got actually an offer that maybe what we can do is we can merge, the current board with some new blood from our community to manage. And we went back to them and said, we're basically here for 2 reasons. One, we're not here to be nominated on the board. We're here just to deliver the message. We represent the community. So we cannot make that decisions. But the more important point is we cannot do this. Brothers and sisters, we cannot do this because currently there is no board basically serving this entity. And it's proven in black and white. So even if we want you to be part of this, we still have to come in front of you in the General Assembly, and you need to be nominated and you need to be voted on. We asked them, we told them, we will nominate you to make sure that you will be in the board for a transitional period, but we cannot do it behind closed door. It has to come through the General Assembly. Otherwise, we would not have a status. We will be in the same issue with no status. And this cannot continue. So at the end of the meeting, we felt again that everything was really delivered well, with a lot of respect, because we do wallahi respect them. And right after we made the dua, we were surprised that the chairman of the board stood up and said, in his opinion, the board is intact. And nobody has a right to talk to anybody except to him, and basically get the hell out of here, guys.
That's Dr. Tomeh.
So, with all my respect, and I know the brother very well, he means very well, but I'm not sure why was that message delivered to us. So, he actually undermined all of us, including board members who basically saw the issues. So, at this point, I guess we have decided, we were hoping that the board will be here sitting with us, organizing this event. And we told them, personally, we're not interested to be on the board. We were just trying to basically fix the problem. To me, the fixing the problem is the biggest issue, because this is an extremely dangerous situation. Okay, so what we're trying to accomplish is to have you come here as a part of this, as I'm not going to call them board members because they're not. As a management, you should be here organizing this because people know your faces. A lot of people don't know me. So again, I'm not going to take a much more time. I know maybe some of you would have questions about kind of the bylaws and the status and everything. I'll be happy to answer them. But in brief, I wanted to make sure the message is delivered to everybody clear. There is no current board serving Alfarooq Masjid, Masjid Umar, Dar al-Ulum, and Dar al-Nur, or the cemetery. There is no board. Right now, the whole organizations have no board. I know they may think differently, or they can try argue differently, but this is coming from two different attorneys. And, we have that on memorandum, and we actually gave them a copy of it. Jazakumullahu khairan.
Subhanallah.